The internet is in absolute chaos right now, because just when everyone thought the D4vd scandal couldn't get any darker, a shocking new voice has entered the conversation. The alleged victim's brother has finally broken his silence. And what he's saying is sending shockwaves through the entire fandom. Fans are calling it the twist nobody saw coming, while others are convinced this changes everything about what we thought we knew. It all started with a cryptic late-night live stream. Shaky camera, dim lighting, and a trembling voice saying, "You don't know what really happened? You only heard his side." Within minutes, clips of that moment spread like wildfire across social media, leaving fans divided, confused, and desperate for answers. Who is this brother? Why did he wait so long to speak up? And what exactly does he mean by "the truth was buried"? Some claim he's protecting his family. Others believe he's out for revenge. But one thing's certain. Whatever he revealed has turned this entire situation upside down. Tonight, we're breaking it all down. Every secret, every betrayal, every shocking twist in what's quickly becoming one of the darkest chapters in D4vd's career. Stay tuned! The night that everything changed for D4vd wasn't marked by flashing lights or paparazzi cameras. It began quietly, almost eerily, when a mysterious Instagram live notification popped up from an account nobody had seen before. A username that read something like "Truth from Within." Fans thought it was a troll account at first, but the moment the live began, everyone froze. A young man appeared on screen, sitting in a dimly lit room, shadows cutting across his face. His eyes were red, his voice shaky, and the only words he could get out at first were, "You all need to stop pretending you know what happened. You don't. None of you do." Within seconds, the live was filled with comments flying faster than anyone could read them. Who is this? Is he related to her? Is this about D4vd? The man paused, took a deep breath, and said softly, "I'm her brother." And that was the moment the internet lost its mind. Clips began spreading on Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube within minutes. Fans couldn't believe it. After months of silence, the alleged victim's family had stayed completely off social media. But now, her brother had finally spoken. And the things he was saying were darker than anyone expected. "He wasn't who you think he is," the brother continued, his voice trembling but his words steady. "He played everyone, the fans, the press, even us. You only saw the version he wanted you to see." People watching claimed they could hear anger and heartbreak mixing in his tone, the sound of someone torn between pain and fury. At one point, he looked off camera and muttered, "She told me to keep quiet. She said the truth wouldn't make anything better. But after everything that's come out, I can't keep quiet anymore." That single sentence, "I can't keep quiet anymore," became the new viral hashtag overnight. Fans began dissecting every possible meaning, wondering what he was about to expose. Some defended D4vd instantly, claiming this was just another clout-chasing stunt. Others swore they saw genuine grief in the man's eyes. But then he said something that sent chills down everyone's spine. "The night it all happened," he whispered, "there were more people there than you think. And not everyone was innocent." That was when the live stream cut off. Just a flicker of static and then black. The internet exploded. Theories began spiraling out of control. Who were the other people? Was he hinting at friends, producers, or maybe even someone from D4vd's inner circle? No one knew. But screenshots of the stream circulated non-stop, and soon, mainstream gossip pages began picking up the story. One fan account posted, "I just watched the live and I'm shaking. If what he's saying is true, this goes way deeper than anyone thought." The next morning, fans woke up to chaos. D4vd's name was trending again. But this time not because of new music or performances. Every post under his latest photo was filled with the same comment, "Who else was there?" and "Tell us the truth." Even his closest friends went silent online. That silence, in itself, made everything seem even more suspicious. People wanted answers, and they wanted them now. As hours passed, new leaked clips started popping up. One, in particular, showed the brother pacing in what looked like the same room from the live. His voice cracked as he said, "I warned her that the people she was trusting weren't who they seemed, but she didn't believe me. And now, look what happened." He then slammed his hand on the table and said something so faint it was hard to hear. But some fans claimed he said, he made her choose between her dreams and her safety. That phrase became the next spark that reignited the firestorm. Rumors grew like wildfire. Some claimed that D4vd had manipulated people behind the scenes to maintain his public image. Others insisted it was a smear campaign orchestrated by someone trying to destroy his rising career. But then came the unexpected twist. One of D4vd's old collaborators, someone he'd worked with early in his career, commented under a viral post, writing, "There's a lot y'all don't know. Trust me." The comment was deleted within minutes, but it had already been screenshotted and reposted thousands of times. Suddenly, everyone began asking, was this bigger than just a personal feud? In the middle of all this, fans noticed that D4vd himself had gone completely silent. No posts, no stories, no statements, nothing. And for an artist known for being vocal and connected with his fan base, that silence felt heavy, like the calm before a storm. Insiders claimed his team had advised him to stay quiet until things blow over, but to fans, that just made things worse. "Innocent people don't go silent," one tweet read. "They speak up." But others countered, "He's protecting himself from lies. You don't owe explanations to chaos." That evening, another live appeared, not from the brother, but from someone claiming to be a friend of both sides. The video showed a tearful young woman saying, "I can't sit back and watch people twist this story anymore. I know what happened that night. I was there." The chat went insane. Viewers flooded the live, begging her to spill everything. She hesitated, tears welling up, and whispered, "It wasn't supposed to go this far." Before she could continue, the live ended abruptly. No one knew if it was connection loss or if she'd been scared into stopping. By this point, the internet was divided into factions. Some demanded justice for the alleged victim. Others stood by D4vd, claiming he was being unfairly targeted. The fan community was collapsing in on itself. People unfollowed each other over arguments in comment sections. How can you still support him after all this? One user wrote, while another fired back, "You don't even know the truth. Stop pretending you do." Emotions ran high, and the fandom, once united by music, was now a battlefield of accusations and heartbreak. Behind the scenes, anonymous sources began contacting small gossip channels offering information. One even claimed to have screenshots of old messages between D4vd and the alleged victim, though their authenticity was impossible to confirm. But in the world of online drama, truth and speculation often blur until they're indistinguishable. And that's exactly what was happening here. Fans wanted a villain and a hero, but no one could tell who was who anymore. Late that night, a new post surfaced from the brothers' account. It was just a single image, a blurry photo of what looked like an empty hallway with a caption that read, "You can't hide forever." The post hit like a bomb. Some thought it was directed at D4vd. Others speculated it was meant for someone else entirely, maybe even a mutual friend who had stayed silent. Comments flooded in by the thousands, some supportive, others terrified. "Please stop posting cryptic stuff," one person wrote. "Just tell us everything." But the brother didn't respond. That silence, again, felt heavier than words. It was like the whole story was dangling just out of reach, one final piece missing. And yet, with every vague post and half-revealed truth, the tension kept building. People could feel it. Something bigger was coming. One fan tweeted, "This doesn't feel like a normal scandal anymore. This feels personal, like revenge." And that's exactly what it was starting to look like. Because just hours later, the brother returned, not on live this time, but with a recorded video that would change everything all over again. The thumbnail alone made people stop scrolling. His face in the dark, the words, "My sister's story," written in shaky letters. Within minutes, the video racked up hundreds of thousands of views. The tone was different this time, calmer, more deliberate. "I've been holding on to this for too long," he began. "And I know people think I'm doing this for attention. But if you saw what I saw, if you knew what I know, you wouldn't stay silent either." And just like that, the story took its next turn. Deeper, darker, and more dangerous than anyone was ready for. And that's where things really started to unravel. The video started off slow, almost eerily calm, like the silence before a storm that everyone knows is coming but can't quite prepare for. The brother sat in that same dimly lit room, a single desk lamp illuminating his face while everything around him was drenched in shadow. The faint hum of a fan could be heard in the background, and for a long moment, he just stared into the camera without speaking. Viewers in the live chat were losing their minds, comments flying so fast they were unreadable. "Just say it already," one person typed. "Stop dragging it out." And then, In a low voice, he said, "This isn't about fame. This isn't about money. This is about what really happened that night." He took a deep breath, running his hand through his hair, his fingers trembling slightly. "My sister trusted people she shouldn't have. She believed the lies. And I tried to warn her, I really did. But she told me I was overreacting. She said he cared about her, that he wouldn't do anything to hurt her." His voice cracked on that last part, and for a second, it looked like he was fighting back tears. But then, things changed. She started getting quiet, distant. She'd stare at her phone for hours, and when I asked what was wrong, she'd just say, "It's complicated." The chat went wild. Fans were already piecing together timelines, matching what he said to old posts from D4vd and the alleged victim. People started reposting old photos of them together, circling tiny details, looking for clues. "She looks sad here," one caption read. "Look at how she's holding her phone." Others called it invasive, saying people were crossing boundaries, but by then, the internet had fully gone detective mode. Every blurry photo, every caption, every lyric from D4vd's songs was being reinterpreted as a hidden confession. The brother continued, "The night it all fell apart, she came home shaking. She didn't say much, just that it was over and she never wanted to hear his name again, but she wouldn't tell me why." And for weeks after that, I watched her fade. She stopped listening to his music, she deleted her socials, and she told me not to ever mention him again. I thought that was the end of it. But when the rumors started, online months later, when people started calling her names, saying she made it all up, I begged her to speak up. She said, "If I say something, they'll come for me." And I didn't understand what she meant by "they" until now. Those words, "they'll come for me," hit like a thunderclap. Fans replayed that sentence over and over. Who was "they"? Was he hinting at people in the music industry, at D4vd's management, or at mutual friends who were trying to keep the truth hidden? The theories multiplied by the hour. Some claimed that the brother was revealing a coordinated effort to silence his sister. Others said it sounded too rehearsed, too emotional, like he was reading from a script. But no matter what people believed, everyone agreed on one thing. This story had officially crossed the line from scandal to mystery. He leaned closer to the camera, his tone shifting from heartbreak to anger. "You all think you know what kind of person he is because of the music. You think he's soft-spoken, gentle, emotional, but that's the image he built. Behind closed doors, it was all control. It was all manipulation." His hands were clenched into fists now. And you know what's worse? The people around him, they helped him cover it up. They told her to stay quiet. They told her no one would believe her anyway. He laughed bitterly, shaking his head. And they were right. No one did. For a few seconds, he said nothing. The silence stretched so long that viewers thought the video froze. Then he whispered, "I have proof." That was it. No explanation, no details, just those 3 words. "I have proof." The video ended abruptly after that, cutting to black. Fans were left gasping, furious, desperate to know what that proof was. Twitter exploded instantly. D4vd proof and "I'm the brother" speaks were trending worldwide within an hour. People began speculating what kind of proof he meant. Screenshots, messages, videos, recordings. No one knew, but everyone wanted to find out. Meanwhile, D4vd's fanbase started fracturing even further. Some fans claimed they had been in private fan chats where mods were instructed to delete any mention of the allegations. Others said their comments defending the alleged victim were being shadow banned. That only fueled the conspiracy more. People began accusing his management of suppressing information, of running damage control behind the scenes. "This is getting darker than I ever imagined," one fan tweeted. "This isn't just drama anymore. This feels like a cover-up." And just when people thought things couldn't escalate further, another twist hit, one that no one saw coming. A leaked audio clip started circulating late that night, allegedly recorded from a private voice message. In it, a male voice that sounded eerily similar to D4vd said, "You don't understand what happens if this gets out. I can't lose everything over one mistake." The clip spread like wildfire, though its authenticity was hotly debated. Some claimed it was edited, others swore it was real. But the damage was done. The clip gave the story new life and made it even harder for anyone to know what was true anymore. In response, D4vd's official team released a brief statement on his Instagram story that simply read, Please don't believe everything you see online. People will say anything for attention. No mention of the brother. No denial of the clip. Nothing specific. And that vagueness only made fans more suspicious. The comment sections filled with replies like, "That's not a denial," and "If you're innocent, prove it." Others defended him, saying the internet was destroying someone's life based on rumors. But the tension was unbearable, like the entire fandom was holding its breath, waiting for the next bomb to drop. The brother returned again, this time through a series of Instagram stories. His posts were blurry screenshots of old messages, cropped so you couldn't see names, but suggestive enough to make people believe they were real. One message read, "If anyone finds out, it's over." Another said, "She shouldn't have said anything." The captions underneath were chilling. "They tried to bury this," he wrote, "but the truth always finds a way." Fans began connecting the dots, comparing timestamps, analyzing fonts, even the lighting in the screenshots to verify if they were legitimate. It was full-blown internet detective madness. A few smaller YouTube drama channels picked up the story next, releasing their own investigations. Some presented timelines, interviews, and even alleged DMs from anonymous insiders claiming to know the truth. One video, titled "The Truth Behind D4vd's Silence," racked up 1 million views in a single day. People were obsessed. Every hour, new theories emerged, from claims that D4vd had been manipulated himself to wild conspiracies suggesting there was an entire web of people protecting him. The narrative shifted so rapidly that no one could keep up. But through all the noise, one thing stood out: the brother's voice. It wasn't going away. His posts were becoming more emotional, more desperate. "I just want people to see her the way I did," he wrote. She wasn't lying. She was scared. Fans started showing sympathy, leaving messages of support, while others began demanding that authorities get involved. The situation had officially gone beyond online drama. It was now something darker, something real. And then came the message that would shatter everything once again. The brother posted a single story with a plain black background and white text that said, "He called me." No context, no details, just that. Within seconds, the internet lit up. Did he mean D4vd called him? What was said? Was there a confrontation? People waited for updates, refreshing his profile constantly, but nothing came. He went completely silent for the next 24 hours. During that silence, fans began speculating about what had happened during that call. Some imagined a tearful confrontation, others a heated argument. Some even said they had sources who claimed to have heard parts of the conversation. But no one could confirm anything. The uncertainty was maddening. One fan wrote, "This whole thing feels like watching a slow-motion car crash. You want to look away, but you just can't." And they were right, because everyone knew deep down that this was far from over. And whatever came next would either expose everything or destroy everyone involved. The silence after the brothers' cryptic post felt like a storm hanging over the fandom. Heavy, electric, ready to explode. For 24 straight hours, no one heard a word from him. No lives, no posts, no stories. And in that silence, theories started breeding like wildfire. People on Reddit claimed to have insider info that D4vd had reached out privately to the brother to make peace. Others whispered darker things, that someone had threatened him to stop talking. One post even said, "He's gone quiet because they got to him." No one knew who they were, but that single phrase was enough to set off a new round of chaos. Then, out of nowhere, the brother reappeared. Not on Instagram this time, but on a small, independent podcast hosted by two creators known for covering controversial topics. The episode title read, "The Brother Breaks His Silence Again." Fans flooded the comment sections, begging for timestamps, highlights, anything. When the podcast dropped, the first few minutes were quiet. The host introduced him gently, saying, "We know this isn't easy, and we want to thank you for trusting us with your story." His voice, when he finally spoke, was low and tired. "I didn't come here to attack anyone," he said. "I came here because I'm tired of being scared." The host leaned in, speaking so. Fully, when you say scared, scared of what? There was a pause so long you could hear him breathing into the mic. "Of what happens when the truth comes out," he finally said. People think this is about one argument or one bad night, but it's not. It's about power. It's about people who think they can ruin someone's life and walk away like nothing happened. The words hit hard. Listeners said later that you could hear his pain. Like every sentence cost him a piece of himself to say. He went on to describe the aftermath of that infamous night. After she cut him off, it didn't stop, he said. The calls kept coming, from numbers we didn't know, messages with no names. And then people started showing up. People we'd never met before, asking questions about her, pretending to be journalists. It was like someone wanted to make sure she stayed quiet. The hosts exchanged uneasy glances. One of them asked, "Do you think he was behind it?" The brother sighed. "I can't say for sure, but someone wanted her scared enough to disappear." And it worked. That part of the podcast went viral instantly. Clips of him saying it worked flooded TikTok, edited with ominous music and flashing images of D4vd's concerts, his face frozen mid-performance, his lyrics twisted into dark interpretations. The fandom was spiraling. People started digging up old interviews where D4vd had said things like, "Sometimes you gotta protect your peace," and "Not everyone deserves the spotlight." In the context of the scandal, those words suddenly sounded sinister. Was he sending messages this whole time? One viral video asked, overlaying clips of his songs with slow-motion shots of the alleged victim. It was messy, invasive, and emotional. Exactly the kind of chaos the internet thrives on. Meanwhile, D4vd's team released another vague statement through a PR agency. It said, "Our client denies any wrongdoing and wishes to move forward from the harmful rumors spreading online." But again, no names, no details. Fans were furious. "You can't just say rumors and move on," one comment read. "This isn't going away." Others defended him fiercely. "He's being harassed," someone posted. "He doesn't owe anyone his trauma." But even his defenders admitted the situation was spiraling out of control. 2 days after the podcast, the brother posted again. This time, it was a short video on TikTok. He looked exhausted, eyes bloodshot, voice raw. "I didn't want to post this," he said quietly. "But after the podcast, someone called me. They told me to stop talking. They said, 'You're playing a dangerous game.'" He let out a shaky laugh. "A game? This isn't a game. This is my sister's life." He didn't say who called. He didn't even say what the call was about. But the fear in his face said more than words ever could. Fans flooded the comments, telling him to stay safe, to contact the police, to document everything. It wasn't just entertainment anymore. It was starting to feel like something real. That night, hashtags like Montprimois Protect the Brother and Pasta Justice For She began trending. Fans organized live spaces on Twitter, debating what to believe. One emotional clip circulated where a fan said through tears, "I don't even know who to trust anymore. I used to love his music. Now every song feels like it's hiding something." Another replied, "We've built him up so much, we didn't see the warning signs. Maybe we never wanted to." It was as if the entire internet was processing a collective heartbreak, mourning not just the situation, but the image they'd had of their favorite artist. And then came the twist that no one was ready for. A user claiming to be a former friend of both D4vd and the alleged victim leaked a series of screenshots from a private group chat. In the messages, there was talk of an argument that got out of hand, and someone saying, "He told me it was a mistake, that he didn't mean for it to go that far." Fans lost it. If the screenshots were real, and there was no way to confirm they were, they painted a picture of guilt, regret, and fear. People started demanding legal action, tagging journalists, even emailing news outlets. Suddenly, what started as online drama began bleeding into real-world attention. The brother reacted almost immediately. He posted another video, this time looking directly into the camera with a mixture of anger and exhaustion. "You see, I wasn't lying. I didn't make this up." He admitted it, just not to the public. His voice broke. "I wish this wasn't real. I wish my sister could just move on, but she can't. Because every time she tries, someone drags her name back into this mess. She didn't ask for any of this." His voice softened, almost whispering. She just wanted peace. It was heartbreaking to watch. Even people who had doubted him before began to feel sympathy. "No one can fake that kind of pain," one user wrote. "He's telling the truth. I can feel it." D4vd's silence, once a defense strategy, was now backfiring badly. The longer he stayed quiet, the more guilty he looked to the public. Fans began demanding that he go live, face the accusations, and tell his side of the story. Others begged him to stay silent, warning that anything he said could make things worse. The divide was complete. Friends unfollowed each other. Fan pages turned into battlegrounds, and even some of his collaborators started quietly deleting old posts featuring him. Then, unexpectedly, the brother dropped another bomb, a 30-second voice note, distorted but clear enough, in which a man's voice said, "She said she'd ruin me if I didn't walk away. What was I supposed to do?" The internet froze. Was it D4vd's voice? It sounded like him, but again, there was no confirmation. It could have been edited, spliced, or even deep-faked. Still, the emotional weight was enough to ignite another firestorm. People began comparing the tone, pitch, and speech patterns to old interviews, convinced it was authentic. Within hours, major gossip pages were posting the clip with captions like, "The evidence we've all been waiting for." The next morning, D4vd finally broke his silence, but not the way anyone expected. He posted a single black screen on his story with the words, "Stop believing lies. I'll tell you everything soon." No voice, no face, no explanation. Just that. And that was enough to send fans into a frenzy all over again. Soon became the most haunting word on the internet. Everyone was waiting, refreshing his page every few minutes, desperate for the next post. But hours passed. Then a full day, then two, and nothing came. In that absence, the brother made one last post for the week. It was a text overlay on a video of him standing by a lake at sunset. The caption read, "The truth doesn't need time, only courage." Fans interpreted it as a direct shot at D4vd. Comment sections filled with speculation. This is getting darker and darker. Something big is coming. He's about to drop proof. It was like the entire internet was standing on the edge of something explosive, and everyone could feel it. By that point, no one cared about music or art anymore. This was personal. It was betrayal, heartbreak, and vengeance playing out in real time. Fans weren't just watching a story, they were living inside it. Every update another twist, every silence another clue. And deep down, everyone knew the next chapter wouldn't just expose secrets, it would change everything. Expose secrets, it would change everything. 3 days passed. 3 long, restless days filled with nothing but speculation, rumors, and silence. D4vd hadn't posted again. The brother hadn't gone live. Fans were glued to their screens, waiting for something, anything, to happen. And then suddenly it did. Just after midnight, the brother dropped a video on YouTube titled, "The Full Truth." No description, no hashtags, no intro. Just the words, "The Full Truth." Within 10 minutes, it had already hit 100,000 views. The thumbnail showed him sitting in a dark car, eyes hollow, lips pressed together like someone who had finally given up keeping secrets. The video opened with a shaky exhale. "This is the last time I'm speaking about this," he said quietly. "After tonight, I'm done." He glanced off camera, hesitating. "The last few days have been hell. I've been followed, threatened, and told to take everything down. But I can't keep pretending everything's fine, not when people keep asking me if I made this up. I didn't." His hand was trembling as he held up his phone, showing blurred screenshots. "These are messages between him and my sister. I'm not showing everything, but enough for people to understand." The first message read, "Please don't tell anyone what happened. I'll fix it." The second, "You said you'd keep it between us. Why are you doing this?" The third one, the one that broke the internet, simply said, "If you ruin me, you ruin yourself too." The comments exploded instantly. People were losing their minds. "That's definitely his writing style," one person wrote. "Look at the punctuation. He always texts like that." Others doubted it. This could be fake. Anyone can type messages. But the brother wasn't done. "These are real," he said firmly. "I didn't want to show them, but people left me no choice." He paused, staring out the window for a long moment. "My sister didn't want this," she told me once. "The truth doesn't heal you, it just exposes you." But she never got closure. She never got peace. And every time I see people worship him online like nothing happened, it kills me a little inside. He took another breath, his voice shaking. The night she told me everything, she was crying so hard she could barely breathe. I remember her saying, "He made me feel like it was my fault." His voice cracked completely. And I believed her, because I saw what it did to her. She stopped singing. She stopped smiling. She stopped being her. People in the comments were crying, spamming broken heart emojis and messages like, "This is so painful to watch," and "She didn't deserve this." Within hours, the video was trending at #1. Fans began tagging news outlets, demanding coverage. Some of D4vd's biggest supporters deleted their stan accounts. Others made long posts about feeling betrayed. "We defended him for months," one fan wrote, "and now it feels like we were protecting a lie." But even then, not everyone believed the brother. There was still doubt, still debate. People were divided between heartbreak and skepticism, between loyalty and truth. The next morning, D4vd finally appeared. Not on Instagram, not on Twitter, but live, and for the first time since the scandal began. His face was pale, his eyes sunken, and his voice was low, almost trembling. "I've seen what's being said," he began. "I know what's out there, and I can't pretend it's not destroying me." He looked down, breathing heavily. "First, I want to say, I'm sorry, not because I did what they're saying, but because I let things get this far." The chat exploded. Some fans were relieved he'd finally spoken. Others were furious that he didn't deny it outright. He continued, "A lot of things have been twisted. People are showing messages without context, making me out to be a monster. I'm not. I made mistakes. I hurt people I cared about. But not in the way you're being told." He rubbed his eyes. There's a version of this story that fits the internet better than the truth, one that's easier to hate. But the real story? It's complicated. Too complicated for comments or posts. He sighed deeply, almost whispering, "I loved her. That's the truth. But we were toxic. We both said and did things we regret, and when it all fell apart, we both got hurt." His words hit differently than anyone expected. He wasn't angry, he wasn't defensive, he sounded broken. Some fans started commenting, "This sounds real. He's hurting too," while others called it manipulation. "Classic gaslighting," one user posted, turning it into mutual toxicity to avoid blame. But before anyone could settle on what to believe, D4vd said something that would twist everything again. "I didn't call her brother to threaten him," he said. "I called him to tell him to stop. Not for me, for her, because she didn't want this. She told me before she left, if you ever speak about it, it'll never end." And she was right. It hasn't ended. The moment he said, "before she left," the comments exploded again. People were asking, "Left where? What does that mean? Is she okay?" But he didn't clarify. He just looked off camera, exhaled shakily, and said, "I wish I could change everything, but I can't. So all I can do is apologize to her family, and to everyone who's been dragged into this." He ended the live abruptly, leaving the internet in complete chaos. Within minutes, clips flooded every platform. "Did he just admit it?" one caption read. Another said, "He's still hiding something." And others wrote, "That wasn't a confession. That was heartbreak." The brother responded a few hours later with a single, chilling post, a picture of a candle burning in the dark with the caption, "Too late." Fans couldn't handle it. Some thought it meant forgiveness. Others thought it was a threat. A few even claimed it meant his sister had passed away, though there was no confirmation. The confusion spiraled into hysteria. Hashtags like, "Just what does him in?" and "You're too late" trended for 2 straight days. Every influencer, drama channel, and gossip podcast was covering it, analyzing every word, every pause, every emoji. Then, just when it seemed the storm might finally settle, a final twist surfaced. Screenshots leaked from an anonymous source showing that the brother had allegedly reached out to multiple drama pages before posting anything, asking, "How much are stories like this worth?" The internet froze. Was it real? Was he doing all of this for money? Within hours, half the fandom turned against him. So he was lying? One comment asked. We believed him. Others defended him fiercely. You think someone who lost their sister is doing this for money? You're disgusting! The fighting got uglier than ever. As the accusations flew, both D4vd and the brother went completely silent. No more posts, no more lives, nothing. Fans were left in limbo, trapped between two impossible versions of the truth. Some swore the brother was genuine and being silenced by powerful people. Others said he was manipulating emotions for attention. And as days turned into weeks, the frenzy started to fade. Not because people had answers, but because exhaustion had set in. The internet had torn itself apart chasing a story that never had a clear ending. In the months that followed, D4vd made a quiet return to music. His first song since the scandal dropped without warning. A haunting track called Silence Says Enough. The lyrics were vague but emotional, filled with regret and loss. Fans dissected every line, wondering who it was about. I said too little, you said too much, he sang. Now the echoes are all we trust. Some called it an apology, others called it manipulation in melody form. The song trended instantly, reigniting the debate all over again. As for the brother, he disappeared completely. His accounts were wiped clean, videos deleted, bios empty. Fans still searched for updates, but nothing came. Some claimed to have seen him in small towns. Others said he moved overseas, but none of it was confirmed. He had vanished as mysteriously as he appeared, leaving behind a legacy of chaos and heartbreak that would never fully be understood. And in the end, that was the cruelest twist of all. Not knowing who was telling the truth. Not knowing what really happened that night. Not knowing whether the story that captivated millions was justice or performance. Because in the world of internet fame, truth doesn't always survive the noise. And as fans scrolled through old videos, songs, and clips of better times, one question echoed louder than ever in every corner of the fandom. Who do you believe? And somewhere, in the silence that followed, the answer was lost forever. And that, right there, is where everything stands now. Confusion, heartbreak, silence, and more questions than ever. The internet may have moved on to the next big scandal, but the shadow of this story still lingers like smoke that just won't clear. Was the brother telling the truth? Was D4vd a victim of his own fame, or the villain of a story he helped create? And what really happened to the sister? The one person at the center of it all who never got to tell her side. Fans are still debating, still dissecting every lyric, every post, every pause, searching for meaning where there may be none. The craziest part? Both sides vanished, leaving only whispers and fragments behind. No statements, no closure, just speculation and silence. Maybe that's the point. Maybe the truth was never meant to come out. Or maybe it's still out there, waiting to be revealed when we least expect it. Because if this story has taught us anything, it's that nothing online ever truly dies. Secrets have a way of resurfacing, and the internet never forgets. So what do you think? Was the brother exposing the truth? Or was it all an elaborate act? Was D4vd hiding something, or just caught in a storm he couldn't control? Let me know what you believe in the comments below. And if you want to stay updated on everything, comments below. And if you want to stay updated on everything, as this story keeps unfolding, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because in this story, every silence hides a new secret. And trust me, this isn't over yet.